There are truths in America so disturbing, we rarely speak them aloud. Truths that cost lives.
Black women do have more aggressive types of uterine cancer, and we don't know completely why.
Black people in the United States are at the highest risk for cancer death.
I wasn't being heard. I wasn't being heard. And I kept advocating for myself.
But the crisis doesn't stop with cancer. It begins long before, in our nation's maternity wards.
Black women are 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications.
I knew that that could mean a death sentence for me and possibly for my child.
We're exposing the injustice buried in our nation's hospitals, labs, and delivery rooms.
We've had a broken system for a long time.
It's time we share the untold truth.
Welcome in, I'm Keitha Nelson. Black people in the United States are at the highest risk for cancer death. Root issues include disparities in health care, exposure to risk factors, and underrepresentation in research and clinical trials. We begin with Jessica Matthews, a Navy veteran diagnosed with a rare cancer. But her story of how she finally got to that diagnosis is all too familiar. Treated with the strongest form of chemotherapy.
My entire life, I've always had long, thick, heavy hair.
Attacking Jessica Matthews' body is one of the deadliest kidney cancers.
This is another chapter in this journey.
Diagnosed with renal medullary carcinoma in October of 2024, for months, what she saw in the mirror wasn't someone with the disease. But now,
It feels so real now because my appearance is changing.
according to MD Anderson Cancer Center, less than 1% of kidney cancers are diagnosed as renal medullary carcinoma, and few patients survive more than 2 years.
I've been preparing my 2 youngest sons, who are 11 and 8.
Preparing them for how mom will look, not for the outcome doctors predict.
I want to survive it and be a survivor.
Research and clinical trials are underway to improve care for patients such as Matthews, but representation matters.
A lot of the clinical trials they don't represent the diverse population that we see in the actual community, especially among cancers that disproportionately affect certain races.
Black people are more likely to develop RMC because the sickle cell trait is most common in this group. Matthews does not carry that trait. She is among a group of people whose bodies historically have been abused for medical advancement, leading to low participation in medical trials.
I feel there needs to be more study done.
She's making it a point to participate in research studies and clinical trials available. Her blood is being collected and used for research. The plan currently in place is to remove Matthew's right kidney and any cancer found. That too will be used for medical research.
That's the only way we're gonna figure this out. We have to figure it out together. Clinical trials, any type of studies, yes. We need to be a part of those conversations.
She says it took way too many tough conversations for her voice to finally be heard. Recalling doctors initially assuming she had some sort of kidney infection, and one doctor insisted the excruciating pain she experienced was muscle spasms.
I wasn't being heard, and I kept advocating for myself.
It's perfectly reasonable to advocate for yourself and leave no stone unturned.
Now faced with an uncertain future, she's determined to reflect not what's seen, but what she knows to be true.
She has a battle to fight, but with my faith, it's not my battle. It's not mine. God is my protector. He's gonna heal me from the inside out.
Jessica did have her right kidney removed, but the cancer has now spread throughout her entire body. She's unable to participate in clinical trials because of the severity of her condition, but she continues to urge Black people in particular to participate in trials and studies so more specific medications and treatments can be formulated and ultimately save lives. Jessica is now undergoing chemo and she continues to fly to MD Anderson in Houston for treatment. She aligns her appointments with Stacy Clark Allen, you're about to see, also a Navy veteran who is also battling cancer. They fly out together to support one another. Jessica continues to believe she will one day be cured, telling me that God is always in control. Well, as uterine cancer rates rise, experts are paying close attention to the higher rates of death and later diagnosis for Black women. Groups are working to spread awareness, encouraging us all to pay attention. Enjoying the little things.
And I got a fresh little one growing right here.
Paying attention as they develop.
Another one right there.
And grow.
I need to really pot them in a bigger pot.
A minor challenge.
I'm so proud of my plants, I don't know what to do.
In the grand scheme of things.
I am so thankful to God because I have had challenges.
Miss Ernestine, do you mind me asking how old you are?
No, ma'am, I sure do not. I am 72 and 3/8. I'll be 73 June 17th.
Ernestine Fagan's liveliness and pride in declaring her age today derives from fear 6 years ago.
When I went into OBGYN, I had some complaints because at my age, I shouldn't have been spotty and I shouldn't have been bleeding. And I know my body. That's the most important thing, knowing your body. And had I not have known my body, I probably would have been dead.
Black women have a significantly higher mortality rate from uterine cancer compared to other racial groups. They're twice as likely to die from it. A study by the National Library of Medicine found that Black women, representing fewer than 10% of uterine cancer cases, accounted for roughly 18% of all deaths.
Black women do have more aggressive types of uterine cancer, and we don't know completely why, but we do know it's multiple factors, probably also family history, genetics, and obesity, and environmental may also play a part.
He explains uterine cancer is an abnormal growth of cells from the inner lining of the uterus, usually the endometrial type, dominated by obesity.
And therefore, uterine cancer has increased over time, and it will continue to increase as obesity rises in the country.
What should women be looking out for when it comes to these cancers? How do we know if perhaps we might have it?
Postmenopausal bleeding. So the first thing we need to know is what menopause is. This is 1 year without a period, usually after age of 50. So women that go a year without bleeding and then have some bleeding, this can be a sign of uterine cancer.
Another sign earlier than menopause is heavy bleeding.
Or skipping multiple periods and then having bleeding that's heavy. It's usually around bleeding where we do a biopsy to make sure a person doesn't have cancer.
In Fagan's case, it turned out
I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it.
She did have endometrial cancer.
When I couldn't go to sleep, I laid there and my brain just raced. It raced, and yes, I cried, I boo-hooed and cried.
Diagnosed on March 15th of 2019, 12 days later, Fagan's had a full hysterectomy. After the surgery, she completed 6 sessions of chemo, followed by radiation in the hospital.
Yeah, I have had my crying spells, but I'm over it now because I know God is a healer.
Cancer-free, she now pours into others, serving as a community health worker at the American Legion Post, making sure veterans get their proper health screenings.
I have met so many, and they're scared to go to the doctor, and I try to encourage them and tell them I'm scared not to go.
Black women are more likely to be diagnosed with advanced stage endometrial cancer and have less access to necessary surgeries. For Fagan's, that was not the case. Her cancer was caught at an early stage.
For 1B, we beat that.
Black women are 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications.
They said Tamara didn't make it.
Just ahead, we're taking you inside a crisis unfolding in U.S. maternity wards.
You're watching The Untold Truth, stories of the silenced.
There is a crisis underway in our nation's maternity wards. Black women are 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications than white women. Now, you're likely wondering why that is. Well, there are several factors, including black women are more likely to have chronic health conditions, less likely to receive adequate prenatal care, and some health professionals argue they are victims of a broken system.
Even if she wasn't your best friend, you still had a connection with her.
Number 36 on a line of 55 women connected through a sisterhood formed at Florida A&M University.
TJ is my line sister, sorority sister. We grow together, you experience life together.
And in this case, death far too soon.
We knew that she was pregnant, and then we knew that she delivered her baby, and then they said something is wrong.
In 2018, Tamara Johnson Thompson, at 34 years old, gave birth to a beautiful, healthy baby girl. But
they said Tamara didn't make it, that it was complications post giving birth.
In 2023, black women had a mortality rate of slightly over 50 deaths for every 100,000 live births. That's more than 3 times the rate for white women and significantly higher than Hispanic and Asian women.
We've had a broken system for a long time, and we have not focused on maternity care in America.
Dr. Chandra Adams with Full Circle Women's Care fully understands what's contributing to deadly outcomes for black women.
We're starting the pregnancy with high blood pressure. We're starting it with kidney disease or other factors that are risk factors for preeclampsia. We are developing these at higher rates.
Black women are 60% more likely to develop preeclampsia than white women. It's a serious pregnancy complication characterized by high blood pressure and organ damage. A critical maternal health disparity Carell Danzy was forced to face while pregnant with her daughter, talking to her doctor 2 years after losing her sorority sister.
You could have preeclampsia. He said that, and I didn't hear anything else. He said, I know my eyes started to water. I started to get scared because I knew that that could mean a death sentence for me and possibly for my child. What if Tamara's story isn't just Tamara's story, but it's all of our stories?
Like, no, I just woke up.
Shanavia and Joelle Obimelekwe.
She says a lot of the things that she hears on there.
Welcomed us into their home 2 years after Little Ocean poured into their hearts love and fear like they had never known before.
Everything was fine until I went into spontaneous labor.
After being sent home, she says, by her doctor while 39 weeks pregnant with high blood pressure.
I just assumed that he would take it more seriously.
The Obimelekwe's describe their doctor as nonchalant and say they were treated poorly when given the option to go home.
We don't know what to expect. We've never done this before.
Shanavia's blood pressure dangerously high. After giving birth,
there was talk about, do I have advanced directives? Do I know who I would want to make the decisions if I do happen to have a stroke or worse?
I put all my trust into the doctors.
JACO, the Joint Commission for Hospital Authority, has actually put in place certain metrics now because we have to address the fact that emergency rooms did not have mandates to not send women home. If they've been pregnant in the last 14 days and you have a blood pressure that normally the ER would say, that's not a big deal. It's a big deal after pregnancy.
We're still traumatized by that.
What's going on now, Joelle?
We're pregnant. We have another one coming.
Yep. We do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You guys think about your past experience when you think about...
100%.
Yes.
100%.
Danzy's baby girl Harper was born premature, but she's now a healthy, very active toddler. And while she and her husband contemplate expanding their family once more, still, in the back of her mind...
For me, I'm always trying to figure out why. Why did this happen to this person and not that person? Why? Why did this happen to her? Is this something that was preventable?
Coming up as we continue to share the untold truth.
I think that sometimes we really don't take things serious until it hits you.
Dealt a life-threatening blow, this well-known Jacksonville couple quickly found out the odds were stacked against them. We're revealing the untold truth about Black men and stroke. And welcome back. I'm Keitha Nelson. You know, strokes are common, but for Black Americans, the outcome of a stroke is more likely to be deadly. Greg and Lakeisha Burton know the risks firsthand. Greg survived multiple strokes, but the most recent attack on his brain nearly ended his life. And now the couple is helping to reveal the untold truth about Black men and stroke. In 2023, former Duval County Public Schools Police Chief Greg Burton had a near-fatal stroke.
A blood clot traveled and blocked off the artery right here. I saw him when he arrived, and he could not talk at all. And he could not move his right arm, right leg. His eyes also had moved to the left.
Baptist Stroke Medical Director Dr. Nima treated Greg. The stroke affected the left side of his brain, the side in charge of language.
Effective treatment where we went through his arteries and we literally was able to remove that big blockage that was blocking the oxygen.
Thankfully for Greg,
he got to the hospital fast.
But a national research study led by the University of Michigan and Brown University found that during a stroke, Black Americans arrive later to emergency departments. And EMS workers are approximately 20% less likely to alert a receiving hospital ahead of a Black patient's arrival compared to a white patient.
Black communities by itself delay getting to the hospital. If you look at the studies, there is delay in even getting to the ER compared to non-Black. So I think education and awareness of stroke and risk factor and treatment are also very important.
According to the American Stroke Association, there are several risk factors and societal challenges adding to the higher rate at which Black men are affected by stroke, including the experience of racism resulting in chronic discrimination, excessive stress that adversely impacts Black Americans and can lead to deteriorating health.
When you're hit with an illness, then you become like this researcher, right?
Lakeisha quickly found out the odds were stacked against her husband. African American men have a 50% higher risk of stroke compared to other racial groups due to a variety of factors, including higher rates of hypertension, obesity, diabetes, and sickle cell anemia.
I did a lot of research and I found those numbers to be true. I'm sad that my husband was a part of that statistic. Yeah, so I knew he was back.
Ooh, he's walking.
Greg has overcome serious medical issues over the years, including 4 strokes, a seizure, open heart surgery, and colon cancer. African Americans are also about 20% more likely to get colorectal cancer and nearly 40% more likely to die from it than most other groups.
I think that sometimes we really don't take things serious until it hits you, right? Greg had always been healthy, disciplined, but now that this has happened, because we're educated, he knows exactly what to eat, how to exercise, the rest you need, all of those things, and we live that now.
Now, according to the Centers for Disease Control, almost 70% of Black men and over 80% of Black women are overweight or obese. African Americans are also more likely to have diabetes. These are risk factors for stroke, but keep in mind, up to 80% of strokes can be prevented. Dr. Nima stresses the importance of exercise, eating well, and getting regular checkups. Black people are significantly underrepresented in medical studies. There is a trial, though, currently underway at Mayo here in Jacksonville. Researchers are working to develop a test that can detect endometrial, cervical, HPV, and ovarian cancer. To see if you're eligible to participate, scan this QR code on your screen. Representation matters and can ultimately save lives. I'm Keitha Nelson. Thank you for watching The Untold Truth.